What's good, party people? This is your friendly neighbor, Chad Maverick, back again with another video. And first and foremost, I wanted to thank all of you that are here right now, who have liked, commented, shared, subscribed, etc. We hit 100 subscribers. We're actually at 105 now, and I'm so grateful for everyone that's like hit the subscribe button. Because when I first started this, I didn't know how it would be received. To be honest, I had no idea. I didn't know if people would enjoy the content. I didn't know if people would accept me at my most authentic, so to speak. Just on camera, I didn't know what to really expect when I'm making this, but I knew in my heart it was something I was inclined to do. It was something I was supposed to do. Between this and music was the two callings that I really felt to go for. So the fact that I've started to really go for it and I've gotten such a real response and authentic response so far from you all means more to me than me having like 10 million subscribers. Like, I really want to thank each and every one of y'all. I was trying to think of something really cool to do for y'all, or like to essentially show or something, but I couldn't think of anything for real. But what I did think of, so because I hit 100 subscribers, what I'm going to do is I did drop all of the prices on my website, as well as added live readings as well. So I have a live 30-minute reading and a live 60-minute reading, and everything is half off or more right now. And it sounds wild, but I really wanted to truly like give people the opportunity to get readings, to get that regardless of the money. I just wanted to make sure it was available for anyone who really wants to get into this, really wants to know about themselves, because like I love astrology. I love astrology. I love speaking about astrology. I love communicating with people about what they believe in, their spirit, who they truly are. It's my favorite thing. And once again, I just wanted to thank everyone for the subs, the likes, the comments, all of that. I appreciate you sharing space with me and giving me that positive energy towards what I'm doing. So yeah. That's enough of my Sagittarian sentimentalness. Let's get into the actual topic at hand for this video. So this kind of actually ties in. I didn't expect it to, but there's a value when it comes to working with one another that can only be experienced in real time. So people admire the ideal of teamwork. As we grow up, we get put into these like, oh, everything's about teamwork, everything's about working together. But I feel like growing up, all of that has felt like such a guise. It's always just been like this cliche. So many people haven't necessarily followed suit. Everyone's essentially taught on one hand to be teamwork, and on the other hand is everyone for themselves. And I completely understand where that mindset comes from. I grew up around it as well. Definitely, as I was growing up, that was one of those real battles between, am I supposed to be helping these people out, or am I supposed to be just doing my own thing? And there came a time, because when I was younger, I was real like pushover with a lot of situations, with a lot of things. I just thought that like helping people in every regard was always the right thing to do, always the right thing to do. But that led me into a lot of scenarios that I had no business being in, just because my own like inner heroism would kick in and it kicked back. You know, not everyone's meant to necessarily be saved in that regard, because everyone's meant to live a different path. But that's the thing about it. Everyone is meant to live a different path, but we're all correlated to work with one another. We all have things that we bring to the table that other people may not be able to bring to the table. For example, as people know, I do music, right? I do music, I produce, I sing, whatever. I can do all that, but I can't draw at all. So whenever I meet someone that can draw, I'm like, wow, that's awesome, you can draw. And in their mind, they could be like, wow, that's awesome, you make music. But I'm so caught up in the fact that they can draw. They're so caught up in the fact that I make music that we kind of get lost in the idea in comparison to like letting ourselves feel our own innate talents. Like, but I think that's part of it though. And I think because we're able to gather together once we are able to recognize each other's talents, powers, passions, etc., is what's going to bring us out of this house of dominoes mentality. We are victims to this type of poverty consciousness that has stuck with us because people have always made the idea and notion of getting rich to be difficult. Everyone's always made the idea of being wealthy to be a percentage, like a very, very small percentage. And whereas that is true, doesn't mean that it's not achievable by people. People see statistics and they get intimidated, not understanding that they can be the statistic that actually proves it wrong. Statistics change, numbers change, times change. Think about the last 5 years and how the advent of social media has completely changed. How beforehand it was just you sharing a couple photos with a couple of friends, maybe getting 100, 200 likes and being like, wow, these are all the closest people. Even not even that. It could have been 10 likes. It could have been 5 likes. It didn't matter because at the time frame, it was just like a cool thing that you were able to interact with your friends on. And now it's become this whole beast. It's become this whole machine, this whole database for what we define desirable, what we find as popular. And it's all through some form of algorithm. And if the algorithm likes you and you abide by the algorithm, it's going to love you back. If you do your own thing, it's going to penalize you. Just think about how that has happened. So drink your water. Especially with the cancer season come up. Drink water. Alkaline if you can. Avoid the tap. Try to get spring. Avoid the fluoride. Cool. Just search it up. Internet will show you a lot of things. Anywho. One thing that I started to like come across when I was doing like research for this like time frame is the idea behind like food, which sounds off, but hear me out first, right? So food is one of those things that's the ultimate resource. Everyone essentially is in need of sustenance in order for them to survive. So food is always an important thing. People should be well fed. Everyone should be well fed, or at least comfortable with how much they're being fed, period, in all regards. Like, for real. Like, I've worked at soup kitchens and stuff, and I've seen how people really need this food. But there's a lot of power involved in that, because think about how they have to come to you in order to get their food served, right? Whereas there's somebody who's super rich elsewhere who hasn't had a thought about this, ordering the most fancy dinner that they possibly can that they won't even finish. It seems pretty unfair, doesn't it? The thing about it is that we used to be these hunter and gatherer type people. We used to go out and get it ourselves, whether that be animals at the time frame, but it was generally a ceremonial thing, whether that be any type of plants, fruits, etc. There's always the hunter gatherer type. Now we're in such an industrial type complex where I just saw this video, terrible video, but it was about the Fairlife cow thing, and it's like just the way that they're being treated. It's disgusting. And that's all money. And it's all lies and it's all fear. But the thing about it is that anything that's related and directly correlated behind the notion and vibration of fear will eventually crumble. Period. It will eventually crumble. Nothing that's built on fear will last. It will not last the test of time at all. Fear is a very quick thing. It's something that people have utilized in negative ways or capacities in order for people to do and abide by their bidding for the time, let's say. But it's not something that's going to last you at all. The only thing that's able to last is something that's built on love, that's built on chemistry, that's built on legitimate synastry between other people. Which leads to the next part. The thing about it is that throughout our lifetimes, let's say we went to school, right? We were taught about history. And in every history and just about every culture, there's always some form of hierarchy, right? Whether that be how we do in the U.S., where we establish a president by vote, or whether that be out where there's a monarchy, where there's a king, whether that be out where there's the caste system, where there's the higher, the royalty, the royal advisors, the caste system, all the way down to the people that are peasants and below. The human condition has generally always been set up behind the idea of hierarchy and this I'm better than you because of my status here. And I think over time, they're starting to become pitfalls. There's always been pitfalls, but now these pitfalls are really being shown. Because now we're in this circumstance where we're able to do certain things on our own. For example, people don't necessarily need to go out and try to get a record deal to do music and be successful in music. People can now go about it themselves. They can do it through streaming. They can do it online. They can do it through just conversations with people that they may have never met in person. But if it resonates, you get the stream. It's one of those things where it's beautiful how now we're kind of at this equal leveling ground, right? And that's what it's about. We need to find equity, equality, as far as like finding those that are able to complement our personal passions and powers for ourselves. I mentioned before, like if I found someone that draws but I make music, like it's something where, wow, you draw, that's awesome. It's like, wow, I make music, that's cool. Like let's put something together. Let's like implement both of those things and push into something else. And this isn't just like a me thing. This is something I think that a lot of people need to start working with, because we all have these talents, and us like really guiding ourselves to one another to figure out how we can accomplish things that we make up in our head is literally group manifestation at its finest. Synergy is more important than competition. Competition is a very old-based system. Competition has only led to wars, death, and famine. In all honesty, that's all is, and it's always the love portion, and it's always the gathering together, which is able to correct that. We have, so today, for example, today is Kanye West's birthday. Shouts out to Kanye West. Kanye's a huge inspiration of mine. Period. He's a direct conduit of the universe, and if you need to have that conversation with me, hit me up and I will explain. But when it comes to this, right, one of Kanye's best songs, in my opinion, is Power. The song Power changed my life forever, right? And the thing about the hierarchy, right, is that, I need to have the power, I need to control the power. I need to have my hands on the power at all times. Whereas in the song Power, at the very end, what he says is that he's like, and you have the power to let power go. You have the power to let power go. And after that, there's like this real like apotheosis in the music. You like feel his ascension, so to speak. And I think that's something where we're heading into. People can be as powerful as they want, but we need to let the power go. We need to kind of get out of our own minds, our own prides, and try to like work together the best we can. With whoever you resonate with, don't force yourself to resonate with someone just because they can do something. Like the people that you truly have like a real heart connection with, these are the people that we need to start working together and making new things and making new processes, right? Because this thing where we're supposed to get into this communion with one another. When Saturn and Pluto goes into Aquarius, we're going to really be in these circumstances where like 2024, 2023. But the thing about it is that time, I feel like it's going to override the way that we've always looked at corporations. I went to school for marketing as well. So I have a degree, but just seeing and noticing the patterns, I'm like, in like 4 or 5 years, none of these jobs are going to really exist because everyone's going to kind of be on their own turf, on their own term, as the peace dealer actually put. He's like, in their own guilds. People start building guilds. People start building that. And I think the best way to do it is just like, we need to start looking at towards each other now. Like, what can we offer one another? Whether that be just conversation, whether that just be advice. It doesn't have to be that deep. Sometimes it could just be like, it could be something super simple. You could just be like, oh, I found this article. I know you're looking for this article here. Like, sometimes it's so simple and it can go such a long way. And this kind of reminds me of like the idea behind like communion. Let's say for people that are religious, like you go to church and there's the blood and bread of Christ, or the wine and the bread, which is symbolic of the blood and the resource, the money, the body. With that being said, we're supposed to. So I recently saw the Da Vinci Code, which is a great film. But in the Da Vinci Code, they speak about the Last Supper. And the Last Supper, esoterically, is essentially a snapshot of the entire zodiac from Aries to Pisces, with Jesus in the middle, and he's actually just playing the role of the sun itself, right? On the right of his shoulder, on his right side, is a woman, actually, facing the opposite way, which is, it's like this right here, which is the symbol for the divine feminine, in showing that was actually Mary Magdalene. In the movie, they were explaining how Mary Magdalene was his wife and he actually had children, etc. That's a theory. I'm not getting into the religious aspect of it. I'm just trying to break it down from like, so you can understand what I'm getting at, the Da Vinci portion, right? The thing about it is that table works because there's all of those people together. There's all of those zodiac signs there, all of those energies at that table, at that supper, all gathering around to sit and participate in breaking bread, the breaking of bread, the breaking of consciousness, the breaking of love, the breaking of light, the breaking of what's personal to them, their inner sweet. I want to coin that, their inner sweet. Anyway, but I just think it's one of those things where we need to commune with each other on a cosmic scale. Knowing your energy is so important. Which is why part of the reason why I like to offer the readings, the chart readings and such, because it's like, once you understand how your energy works, you can understand why certain people that you meet and interact with, you may feel a certain type of way for, or you may have seen something on something like Cosmopolitan where it's like, oh, a Sag and a Taurus are not compatible as people. But you start looking within the chart, you can understand it's like, okay, maybe quote unquote, according to them, of course, Sag and Taurus don't get along. But because I have a Mercury and Capricorn, the way that I explain things on the Earth axis makes them understand and feel comfortable with how I explain and speak with them, right? And so that's where they find comfort, because of the Earth energy. And everyone is just like these 10 energies inside of us all have completely separate personalities. They all have completely separate energy signatures. In a sense, they are our true chakras. In a lot of senses, our planets and where they're located are kind of our true chakras. It's where we truly push energy out. But we need to start to align with those that are meant to align with us, and let's figure out ways that we can work together. Well, that could really range from making an art project with one another to working to go and fund maybe a certain cause, fundraise for a certain cause. And it could just be as simple as, hey, how's your day going? I just wanted to check in on you because I know that you go through things from our conversations, XYZ. It's so simple, it's complicated, like I said before. But yeah, so this time frame is really about trying to find the sense of community. Because when we find a sense of community, no one ever goes hungry. When we find a sense of community, no one ever truly feels alone. When we find a sense of community, people are able to really interact with one another on a very newfound level, that heart level. Um, One example I want to use for it to kind of hit home as I end this up here. I used to go to this camp that was every year, every summer, and it was a diversity camp. I was a counselor there as well later on. But the reason why the camp was so amazing is because we were there. There was no cell phones allowed. We really just had to speak with one another about the real situations, real topics, our darkest, deepest fears, very personal moments sometimes. Just because we didn't have access to technology, we were just so open with one another. There was no heinous action. It was just pure. It was open. It was honest. And within those like that week and a half between knowing people, like I felt like I've known certain people in a lifetime. And it's all about just being vulnerable and having that authenticity in order for you to connect with one another. But with that connection, you can really create some synastry, and with that synastry, you can really take take the world for your own and not have to stomp on anyone else to do it. You don't have to. It's not necessary. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it off right here. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Get a reading. I'm going to be having those sales probably for like 2 weeks. I appreciate all 105 of my subscribers as of right now. Thank you all for becoming a Maverick with me. But yeah, I'm going to stop talking now. I hope you enjoy your day, Sunday, weekend, weekday, whenever you see this. If it's between the time of June 8th-ish to June 13th-ish. Because this is when this all becomes prevalent. Alright, y'all. I'm going to go back to making music like a madman. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one.